The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are live to the W2M Network with the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge. Yeah, that's still a thing. Reviews here. Really? You know what? Do you want to do what we did last week and just get it out of the way once we do introductions?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because, frankly, at this point, I don't care anymore.
Nope.
And the only reason we're still addressing it is because we started to address it when it first started.
I told you we should. I forewarned you about this.
You did. I didn't listen. This one's on me. Oh, hi, everyone. Welcome into the 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge reviews for March 20th, 2018. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Joining me, as per usual for these, the co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Liz Pugliese.
Hello.
And the Meister Burger to my Kris Kringle, Brandon Biskobing.
I love that cartoon.
See, Liz doesn't fully get it like we do, and like the guys from the kickoff would get it.
Okay,
well,
so
no.
We were doing the kickoff a couple of months back, and we were talking about people as we were coming down the stretch. Brandon took to naming the quarterback of the Steelers the Burger Roethlisberger.
Because 'tis the season.
I figured, what the hell, use the bell and bring it full circle and actually use it for the 205 Live review as well.
Well
I
done.
knew Brent would get a good chuckle out of that one. Plus, I knew it was going to be awfully difficult to top Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
See, that's one of my favorite Christmas specials.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love all of the claymation ones.
Me too. So it's kind of like, is he like blasphemizing, my favorite thing? Like, I don't know.
I could have done my favorite Christmas movie and done The Chimney to My Rizzo the Rat.
Chimney? That just doesn't make sense.
When Rizzo's hanging on to Gonzo while they're flying at the start of the movie, and Rizzo's square into a chimney.
So stupid. Rizzo, the only rat that I like.
Oh, it's stupid and yet hilarious. No cheeses for us, nieces. It's still my favorite. All right.
It's March.
What's your point?
This has already gone off the rails.
So just remember, you're going to need an Easter Bunny reference coming
Oh,
up.
God. He's going to have to do some sort of April Fool's thing for in a couple of weeks.
Now I'm going to have to watch. That would be the Go Home, so I'm actually going to play that one kind of serious.
No, damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Although I will say that I have kind of the idea in mind for the SmackDown and 205 Live review that I have for the reaction that week here, and I'll talk to you guys more about that once we finish this episode here.
Okay.
No spoilers for the listeners at home. But do you guys want to go ahead and handle this the same way that we handled Mixed Match Challenge last week? I mean,
yeah. Let's just get this out of the way.
I didn't watch it.
I'm at the point right now where I really don't care.
Nope.
Like I turned it on. I had it on as background noise because I was doing my prep work for the March Madness to the Max 2 Electric Boogaloo available on the YouTube channel. That one was for you, Liz.
I know, I'm sorry.
And I was so busy working through the bracket and getting everything all squared away for the kind of format that I wanted to run for that I was only partially paying attention towards the Mixed Match Challenge match. Said Mixed Match Challenge match sees the team of Asuka take out Team Little Big when Asuka taps Alexa Bliss with the Asuka lock. Asuka wins again? What? Huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I looked up the winner because I figured I should probably know for this.
Did you really have to look up the winner for this?
I like to be sure, because you know what? The one time I don't look up the winner, I'm gonna be wrong.
But you do realize that if it wasn't the winner that you expected it to be, that everyone would be in an uproar. So you would have seen it somewhere.
Yeah, but I was watching Legends of Tomorrow, so I really wasn't on social media.
Oh, okay.
I got nothing. Sorry, I'm very professional finishing my Snickers bar. Anywho.
Yeah, I was half watching it and half playing the SmackDown card on 2K.
You know what? I actually have something to bitch about here.
Surprise, surprise.
Nothing new if you're a longtime listener to the show here, but I'm not going to go off on like the epic kind of rant that I went off on SmackDown last week, I promise. Okay, so I get the idea as to why Sasha and Finn Balor is the team that everybody chose as the runner-up team. And congratulations to Sasha and Finn. Yahoo for them. Them and his abs and her forehead will carry them distances in the future. That being said here, wouldn't it have actually been nice to use this as an opportunity to further another actual potential angle rather than just bringing back Sasha and Finn?
Yes.
Like
wouldn't it have told them to actually go with Corey's pick of Mandy Rose and Goldust, who, in my opinion, was the most entertaining team in this entire tournament?
But the issue with that is that they kind of set them they kind of put themselves into a corner in terms of that when they decided, which I'm perfectly fine with, that it was going to be a fan vote. And, you know, this whole concept, I mean, I don't think it really has lived up to the expectations in terms of this, but, you know, the whole concept of this was supposed to be, oh, the fans get a say in what happens in the ring. And, I mean, granted, this has been the only time that I can really think of it actually happening, but, you know, they couldn't go back on what they said originally and completely change what they were going to do.
With all due respect, if you actually think this vote was legit, I got a bridge in Brooklyn for sale that I'm trying to get rid of.
I think it was for the most part because, I mean, they were the only true face team that was, you know, in this poll, so, you know, it makes sense that they would win.
Yeah, I'm very mixed on that. I think they probably had some, you know, slight edge in the voting, but it was definitely just who the company wanted. It's like when they used to have those boards. Yeah, it was like when they used to have those on Raw where you'd go on Twitter and pick who the opponent is. Come on.
Oh, I agree with that, but I think this was more or less legit because, I mean, think about it. Who were the other options? Goldust and Mandy Rose. What?
Rose Gold. That was the other option. It shouldn't have been anyone else.
But that one, not everyone's a fan of Goldust. Not everyone's a fan of Mandy Rose, and there aren't all that many fans. I'm just being honest here.
All right, we've talked about this too much. Let's go.
Liz is falling asleep while we're discussing Mixed Match Challenge.
Pretty much.
I'll agree with her.
Go ahead and finish your thought, Brandon, and then we'll move on.
I mean, you know, I'm just saying, you know, most people, you know, when, you know, this was the only true face team, and, you know, not many people are really, you know, huge fans of either Goldust or Mandy Rose, especially right now with Rose being in Absolution and everything. You know, there weren't really many other choices that really, you know, pop out to me as, you know, choices that most fans would think of.
I would think that Shinsuke Nakamura and Natalya would have been an obvious pick too, since Shinsuke, I don't know, is main eventing WrestleMania allegedly.
That one I will give you, but, you know, again, Natalya kind of brings him down there.
You be careful what you say about Natty over there.
Wouldn't Jimmy and Naomi be a face team?
That is one that probably got a good amount
Naomi's irrelevant. Oh, did I hurt the Naomi fans' feelings out there? Sorry, not sorry. Moving on. Don't like her, never have. Anyway, The 205 Live review scheduled for 1 hour. Why not? It's already gone off the rails. Why not just steer into the skid, right? Our opening contest scheduled for 1 fall.
1 fall.
Is the continuation of the Lucha House Party taking on Team Japan as we get the two men who got into a little bit of an altercation after the tag match last week. Hideo Itami taking on Lince Dorado. Go ahead, Brandon. I know you're going to.
We lost one of the better Let's have a little in memoriam for one of the better themes of 205 Live. Lince Dorado's rock theme. They replace it with stupid lucha music. He was one of the few... I talked about this before. I think I talked about this last week when we were talking about this tag match. Lince was one of the few luchadors that I actually liked because he was unique. He wasn't just generic luchador number 5.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're basically, reducing him to just that.
I do believe that would be Generico Luchador numero 5, but that's neither nor there.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, hell, Sami Zayn even made fun of this whole concept when he was in the Indies.
And if I haven't been racist enough with that, let me continue by stating that, I kind of agree with that there in regards to your thought process of them all having to come out together. And is there such a thing as good generic luchador music?
No.
All views and opinions can be sent to s.nevermind. Honestly, I'm just doing stuff to pop us at this point. I really don't care.
I really hope Sean never listens to these.
Yeah, really.
In all sincerity, though, let's talk about the match itself. We see the continuation of the feud between the two teams here. And Hideo Itami and Gran Metalik get into a bit of a tiff at ringside, which leads to Metalik slamming Itami into the apron for the disqualification finish at 6 minutes and 14 seconds here. I don't think there's any real question where this is headed here since they keep having them interact with each other. With the rumor of the Cruiserweight Tag Team titles coming down the line, is there any chance that this doesn't end with these two as the last two teams vying for those belts, Liz?
No, I think it's definitely, leading that way, and I think it should. I think if they're going to stretch the roster somehow to have, tag team titles, you're going to want people that are really solid. To start it off, and these two teams definitely, have chemistry amongst themselves and with each other.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Liz. Now, how they get to that point is a different question altogether, because I have a bad feeling, especially considering that these two are the only teams that they're really focused on right now, that it's just going to be those two being tossed into a title match for the new tag team titles, and then, we'll just have those two teams feud for a little while, and then maybe another team randomly get created to throw in another feud. Like, it just doesn't seem like they're really building a bigger division here.
I think that we're going to get there, and you kind of talked about other team possibilities when we had this conversation last week, such as Kendrick and Gallagher.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think there are potential teams, but, they're not showing anything like that right yet.
Nothing established is what you mean.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree with that, and I think that this one of the reasons that I think these 205 Live tag team titles may be in some trouble because of the fact that there's no real basis for these belts to happen. It's just a couple of random tag team matches here and there on 205 Live, and all of a sudden we need an undercard division for the Cruiserweight title. No, we really don't. You just need to do a better job of keeping these other people in the division relevant, which I will say they have done a better job ever since the ownership staff, the creative staff of 205 Live switched over to what it is now, but you still have to keep your undercard available, especially if you want to start this as a touring brand going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Our next contest scheduled for 1 fall. Oh, wait, before we get to that, sorry, I had to interrupt your 1 fall because we have an interview backstage with a backstage interview with Cedric Alexander, where he sits down and talks to us, talking about earning his spot at WrestleMania and saying that he's achieved his dream of making it to WrestleMania, but it means nothing unless he wins the title.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun.
That's setting up your theory.
I called this a month ago. I stand by my prediction.
Let me just go back to the tag team thing real quick, because I just thought of one team while they're busy on the main roster, and one of them is injured right now. Could we see the faux Bollywood boys come into?
That would be an obvious choice, especially since 205 Live is after SmackDown anyway.
Yeah.
So they could be on SmackDown to do whatever it is they do with Jinder, and then afterwards they can go from being Samir and Sunil Singh to actually being the Bollywood boys in the Cruiserweight division.
I just don't... Like, while that would be the ideal situation, I just don't know if they would go that route. I have a bad feeling that if they were to do it, they'd stay as what they are now.
Well, either way, I mean, we've seen Samir and Sunil getting their asses handed to them on a somewhat consistent basis on SmackDown, so it's not like it's not known that they're not wrestlers, you know? That was a triple negative. The grammarist in Sean is probably pissed right now. It's not exactly like it's a secret that they're wrestlers.
Yes.
And that they have somewhat of an established following from when they were in the independent scene, as well as the fact that both of them, if I'm not mistaken, were participants in the original Cruiserweight Classic under the Siren last name, I think it was.
Yeah, under their real name, Gervin Harv Sira. And they even had a tag team match at the finals.
So, I mean, seeing them involved in the tag team division for 205 Live wouldn't exactly be a surprise to me. The question is whether or not they'd want to sacrifice the 205 Live division by having them still constantly appearing and getting their asses handed to them on SmackDown as well.
Yeah, see, that's the big problem.
Because they've done so much to help, in my opinion, they've done so much to help facilitate the Jinder Mahal character.
Well, yes, but, I mean, if you're gonna, if you're gonna start moving Jinder, into a different role and kind of lessen his effect, maybe they break off.
Liz, any thoughts here about the Bollywood boys coming to 205?
No, I'd be interested in it.
Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is a squash match, more or less, as TJP takes out Kenneth Johnson at 2 minutes and 40 seconds with the crucifix knee bar.
Yep.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I'll just say I had a little mini pop for seeing Kenneth Johnson back in WWE after I'm assuming he was at like the Performance Center or something. For those of you who do not remember, I was a huge fan of the Cruiserweight Classic, so I remember a lot more than most do. He was in the first round. He lost to Tozawa in the first round of the Cruiserweight Classic.
I feel bad saying this. I reviewed the Cruiserweight Classic for the W2M Network, and I don't remember this guy.
How you disappoint me.
Do you know how much wrestling I watch in a given week, Brandon?
Yes, I understand.
Forgive me if people slip through the cracks every now and then.
Hell, I remember, and I still wish he were I wish WWE would have signed him. I still want to see Damac.
I think he went back over to Germany.
Yeah, he did. He was actually in the WCPW World Cup.
Liz, any thoughts on this contest?
It was quick. It was filler. It was all right.
Like we were talking about before we actually started the show here, this was basically just a rehabilitation win for Perkins after having been knocked out of the Cruiserweight title tournament by Cedric, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, totally. It was just to, keep him be like, oh, he's still here. We're gonna do something with him. Let's make him look, a little dominant.
Let me just say, though, before we move on, I'm hoping that, especially with them trying to expand the Cruiserweight division and bring in a tag team division and all that, I hope that this means that Kenneth Johnson is on the roster full time, and we see more of the guys that lost in the first round during the Cruiserweight Classic, who they did end up signing, coming in. Maybe we see some of the other lower end guys coming in.
Our main event for next week, scheduled for One Fall, is announced by our general manager, Drake Maverick, as Akira Tozawa, Kalisto, the aforementioned TJP, and the luckiest man in the GD universe, Buddy Murphy, will meet in a fatal four-way to help determine a future number one contender towards the Cruiserweight champion that we will be crowning at WrestleMania.
Well, I think we all know where this is going.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy. Screw him.
Nope.
Stupid Buddy Murphy.
So are we going to get another vignette about him having to maintain weight next week?
Absolutely, and it needs to happen. To borrow a line from a certain SmackDown returner, yes! Yeah! Never mind.
Do you really think they're going to have him win?
Murphy, no. I think Kalisto wins, honestly.
No. This is pretty straightforward to me.
Are you thinking TJP as the heel?
Yes, I am, and also for another reason. Because Kalisto and Tozawa are going to take each other out, thus continuing this whole feud between Team Japan and Lucha House Party.
Okay, but that still leaves Buddy Murphy.
I don't think they're going to give Buddy Murphy a number one contenders match right away.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was leaning towards TJP.
Man, this dude landed Alexa Bliss. I wouldn't put anything past him.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, what does that have to do with anything?
I hate him just based on that alone.
Braun's girlfriend supposedly signed, to train and be on NXT. Does that mean they're going to give her the Women's Championship there?
Well, that depends. Does she come out like Camilla?
No.
Anyway. I'm being facetious for comedy, Liz. You're killing me.
I know, I'm sorry. What's Brandon called me before?
It's too late in the night for us to be doing this show. That's why we're all a bunch of grumposaurs.
I'm not grumpy. This is just me. See, in the beginning, before we continue, when we first started, I tried to be really nice and da-da-da, but it's very hard to maintain, so I just decided to be myself.
I'll tell you the same thing I've always told women. Don't fake it. Anyway. Our main event scheduled for One Fall.
One Fall.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need a second here. It is the second semifinal in the Cruiserweight title tournament as Mustafa Ali takes on Drew Gulak. For as good as Cedric and Roderick was last week, I actually think this match was better.
Oh, yeah, especially the storytelling.
It was amazing.
And what Brandon just said is my key component here. Mm-hmm. Whereas Cedric and Roderick was more of a game of can you top this? Mustafa and Drew was that classic flyer versus mat-based story of Mustafa trying to do anything and everything to quicken the pace against Drew, and Drew trying to do anything and everything to slap Mustafa's punk ass into the Dragon Sleeper.
But even then, you saw Mustafa trying to do some more ground-based stuff. Like, he tried to put Gulak into the sleeper a couple of times. And also you had the whole thing with them continuously going to the outside and almost getting counted out. So there were a lot of different things going into this match. Like you said, Cedric against TJP was definitely more... Cedric versus Roderick. No, excuse me.
There you go.
Was definitely more technical, but this, in terms of storytelling in-ring, was better.
Liz, you wanted to say something here?
No, I mean, I pretty much agree with with what Brandon said, but the match was probably my favorite match of the week.
I would say that as well.
I think I'm inclined to agree as well. I don't think there was anything on Raw or SmackDown that really stood out above it. Definitely nothing on SmackDown, at least.
I didn't even watch Raw, so I couldn't tell you.
I mean, just for the fun of it, you could potentially say the Ultimate Deletion, but in terms of a technical match, this is definitely
Ultimate
the best.
Deletion's not really a wrestling match. It is a spectacle, but that's beside the point.
I mean, we all kind of. Well, the rumors. Sorry, Harry. The rumors and the speculation been that it's going to be Cedric and Ali, and that was, proven. I love seeing, Gulak. Though I am a total, Gulak fan.
Oh, same here.
It's it was just a really, really enjoyable match.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just state for the record that we may as well call Gulak Bob Backlund Jr. because I haven't seen anybody do that crazed gimmick as well as Backlund until the way Gulak does it. Like, you legit buy into the fact that he wants to murder somebody when he gets like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's fabulous. His facial expressions are on point.
The shootings. Did you see the bump that Ali took when Gulak threw him into the ring post, Brandon? He almost did a standing shooting.
Oh, yeah.
He threw him so hard into the ring post on the outside of the ring that Ali's feet went up from under him, and he faced off of the being thrown into the ring post. It was awesome, and it put behind it just how much force that Gulak was driving him into that post with.
Or that really awkward landing that he took off the announce table.
The back body drop?
Yeah.
I want to say that I actually really like that spot, too, because it's the old cliche of with the setup of the table and stuff and people always going through it. I like the fact that they teased the table spot, but they didn't actually use it.
Oh, yeah.
This does lead us to what we thought, though, as the 054, the imploding 450, gives Mustafa Ali the win at just over 15 minutes. It felt longer to me, and I don't mean that as an insult.
Mm-hmm.
We saw these two absolutely kill it on the first 205 Live of the Triple H Adam Pearce era when the main event was Cedric versus Mustafa before the tournament got started.
And we got a "This is awesome" in 205 chant going as a result.
Please, please, please give these guys time on the main card of WrestleMania and watch them steal the goddamn show.
Or at the very, very least, if you must, put it as the last match of the pre-show. So that there's actually a crowd there. Because that was a big problem last year.
With Neville and Aries, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Neville and Aries busted ass last year, but there was nobody there to see it.
Yeah, because they were the first ones in.
I think, though, that with the way that this Cruiserweight title tournament has been and the way that these guys have been busting their asses in this tournament, they deserve main card spot on WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Harry?
Hello.
All right, with everything that we've seen with this Cruiserweight title tournament here, I have one more question to ask you guys before we get into our final rating and our one-word review for this episode of 205 Live. The question to you guys is this. Do you think that we're going to see a drop in the quality of 205 Live now that they do not have the tournament to help them put the shows together? Liz, I'll ask you that first.
No, I don't think so. I think with the change of Hunter and whoever else, running it, I think the guys probably have a little bit more confidence to go out there and really put something on, knowing that that's what Hunter, wants to see, and that's what's gonna, keep getting them time and to keep the show going. But I mean, even before that, 205 is, we've said it many times, always had some of the best matches of the week. So I think I'm hoping, and they'll probably gonna end up getting another tournament if they do a tag team thing. So I think it's going to continue to improve. At least I hope so.
Yeah, I think it may take a slight hit just because there isn't, that distinctive thing on the line or anything like that, at least for some fans. But in terms of the quality of matches, I think they'll be fine. Triple H knows what the fans of this style want to see, and he's bringing it. He's bringing the more indie type style, and the more, purely focused on the in-ring action type of style to WWE, and it's working. But the one thing we were talking about a little bit before, but, I agree that they should be on the main card, but who do you move down in order to put them up? That's the issue.
Well, I think it depends on what we do and don't end up having announced come WrestleMania Sunday. I would hope that they would have the entirety of this card announced in advance and we're not scrambling to add stuff 2 days before the show.
I think they will, or at least for the most part will. They may leave a few things open.
Yeah, I can see them putting, some definite filler, Fandango Tyler match, on first, with whoever, something like that. And maybe not those two, but something like that on first, on the pre-show to get it, to get it started, to start getting everybody into it.
I think that we're going to end up with the two battle royals on the pre-show, honestly, the Andre and the women's battle royal.
You think?
Not the women's.
If the women's battle royal isn't on the pre-show, then Alexa and Nia is.
The bar will probably be on the pre-show.
You're going to put Braun Strowman on the pre-show.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, no, wait. I forgot they would take it on Braun. I blocked out that stupidity.
The SmackDown Tag Team title match. Okay, then we'll do the Andre, the SmackDown Tag Team title match, Alexa and Nia, and then the Cruiserweight title match is your 4 pre-show matches. How's that?
I don't know. I can't see that. I honestly forgot that Braun was taking on the bar. I can't see with the way they're pushing the Bludgeon Brothers and that they're having, the New Day. That I can't see them putting the New Day on the pre-show.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Going from hosting it to the pre-show?
I'm just saying, I don't think that you're going to have room for everybody on the main card here, even with the main card being 5 frickin' hours.
Oh, I know you're not going to have time for everyone, but, it's going to be very tricky if you want to try to avoid... If you're trying to put the Cruiserweight title on the main show, it's going to be very hard to figure out someone to move down.
I'm not saying it's going to end up on the main show. I'm saying they deserve to be.
I agree with that.
You know what they could put on the pre-show and nobody would blink a friggin' eye?
What?
The Orton, Rude, and Jinder.
Yeah. But
that's exactly where it should be.
That
wouldn't think Orton would care. I don't even think Orton would care.
The way that I think the SmackDown Tag Team title match gets on the main card is because they're going to make that a ladder match. I do feel like that will be a WrestleMania ladder match.
Or a TLC match.
It could be tables, ladders, chairs, and whatever the hell those things are, that mallets.
No.
I think that's what they called them. All right. That'll do it for the 205 Live review now that we're speculating on fantasy booking for WrestleMania. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. Right now. Here's the deal for 205 Live and SmackDown in 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Next week's episode of 205 Live and the Mixed Match Challenge review will be just Brandon and Liz. Because while I am almost certainly going to Raw, I'm about 80% sure I'm also going to SmackDown next week. Therefore, I will not be available in time to do the show. I don't want to keep these guys waiting until I get home from Pittsburgh because it won't be until at least 1 a.m. East Coast.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
That's not happening.
Yeah.
2 weeks from tonight, there will be no separate review. There will be no separate review for SmackDown and 205 Live. The two shows will be combined together. We will hit the highlights of both shows. But the main point of the SmackDown and 205 Live review in 2 weeks will be myself, Brandon, and Liz previewing WrestleMania 34.
Okay.
Basically, it's going to be our predictions that we usually do at the end of the episodes on the pay-per-view ones. But since this is WrestleMania, they get the focus this time.
Yep.
Sounds good, sir.
And if Sean has an issue with that, I will talk to Sean about it. And Sean will have to find somebody else to do an actual SmackDown review because I am holding fast in my opinion on this one here. I feel like WrestleMania is the show that wrestling fans watch, and it deserves our undivided attention for that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think we're all in agreement.
What I am looking forward to, though, is finally having the opportunity to do the first ever Wrestling to the Max SmackDown Live, SmackDown After WrestleMania review with an actual review crew. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Wait, do I get to be on this one?
You do. It'll be the SmackDown After WrestleMania.
It'll be the regular show. It'll just be the one right after Mania.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good.
It'll be like the Raw After Mania, but it'll be SmackDown instead.
Yep.
I like it.
So that'll be the first time here on the W2M network that we have done a live review show for a live SmackDown after WrestleMania. Looking forward to bringing that to you guys as well.
There wasn't one last year?
There was one, but it wasn't exactly anything to really write home about.
Wait, this is the regular Tuesday show? Or are you doing something after Mania? That's why I'm confused.
No, it'll be the regular Tuesday SmackDown.
Oh, all right, fine. I'll be around.
He's just making it all fancy because it's the one after Mania, like how Raw after Mania is all crazy.
Well, I know, but the way he phrased it, I was like, wait, when are we doing this?
Well, I'll tell you what, Liz. If you guys want to get together and review the SmackDown side of the WrestleMania card, we can do that for that for that SmackDown After Mania episode. How's that sound?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be around, but don't you guys usually do a different recap after the pay-per-views?
I'm not going to be available because my girlfriend's going to be in town. I ain't doing for reviews for WrestleMania.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot.
If Brandon to try to put something together with the guys from Wrestling to the Max, he's more than welcome to. I ain't going to be around to do it.
No. That's why I was confused.
If they need an extra hand for the review, I will more than happily jump on, but
I feel like it would be easier for us to do our opinions on WrestleMania for the SmackDown after WrestleMania.
Well,
specifically for the SmackDown matches. I mean, I can give my thoughts on the Raw matches when we do the Raw reaction 11:30 on the Chair Shot Radio Network.
It's just the way you named it. That's why I was like, wait.
I was just trying to make it sound important because it'll be like how Raw after SmackDown, or how Raw after WrestleMania is a big deal. It'll be the live SmackDown after WrestleMania, so that'll be a big deal too.
It was you made it sound so important. It confused me.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Woohoo! Go me. All right. Scale of 1 to 10. Where do we fall for tonight's episode of 205 Live, Liz?
7.
Brandon.
I'll be a little nicer and I'll give it an 8. I liked the main event. I liked seeing Kenneth Johnson back and seeing TJP pick up a win and try to rebuild some momentum. But while I like the concept, please, Lince, go back to what you were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep a very crude comment to myself here. I'll tell you about it once we get off air. Okay. I'm going to split the difference and say 7.5. The opening contest, while entertaining, was not as enthusiastic as the tag team match was the week before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like the main event more than made up for the interim.
Yes.
And hopefully Cedric and Mustafa can deliver something amazing at WrestleMania, because right now Mustafa and Drew's the best match we've gotten out of this tournament so far, in my opinion. Just for the actual in-ring work, the character work, and the storyline that they've told during the match. That is pro wrestling 101 right there, what Mustafa and Drew delivered tonight.
Oh, yes.
Tuesday, if you're listening to this later on down the road. So, oh wait, one word review. Almost forgot. Had a moment there. I'm good. Senior moment. I'm okay. Brandon, one word. What do you got for tonight's episode of 205 Live? If he needs a second, so I'll come back to him. Liz, do you have one ready to go?
Satisfying. It was a good show.
Mine's technically 2 words, but it's hyphenated, so it's one. My one word is storytelling.
I'll say indecisive. Some stuff was good, some stuff not so much.
You gave it an 8, and you're going to call it indecisive? We don't have time for this because I'm getting tired.
I just didn't like the whole Lince thing.
I'm not bickering with him. It's 2:30 in the morning on the East Coast. I'm over it. For Doofenshmirtz and co-hostess, I'm host. For Brandon Biskobing and Liz Pugliese, I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and kind of sort of maybe a little bit Mixed Match Challenge review here on the W2M Network, available online at W2Mnet.com.